2 minutes, yeah. Get the copyrights over with. It's gonna be short and sweet. Copyright disclaimer. On Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, non-profit, educational, or personal use tip to balance and fair use. It's John back in there. Let's get it. Pioneer of the Bigfoot world. Researcher. I think you're an anthropologist and a biochemist. I'm trying to figure it out. For the animal world. Well, I think you were mastered in crypto, zoology, all of it above. But anyway, welcome to my channel. This channel is the Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. All right. And should I say my name? Yeah. Might well go ahead and say my name. Why should I hide my name? It's all in the atmosphere right now. I ain't got to show my face. That's it. But now I'm waiting. Okay. In this video, I'm gonna go over Todd Stanley when he come in contact with the legend, the myth, the truth, Big Jake. And I think it's Big Jake's sister. I think he called her Jane. All right. So, you're now watching the Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. I think I got it right. All right, y'all. Here we go. Go back to it. That's me. Go back to it. Sorry about that, y'all. Here we go. Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. Letter up.
What would your life be like if you were a rapid transformational therapist?
I've been able to see for the first time some complete segments of Todd Standing's filming of Sasquatches in another.
Dr. John Bigfoot. Look y'all. There go Jane. Y'all see her? Bring it a little closer. Little freaking eyeball. Mouth. I call her the eagle eye. Man, she ain't blinking a link. She trying to locate Todd standing before he gets started. It's just a snippet of what he can be. He can get caught standing. He can get caught down in RADIUM, down in the ditch. He can be looking up to her. On the other side, it can be Big Jake. I mean, she trying to fight him. Look. It's freaking amazing. It's a female Sasquatch, y'all. It's the clearest version yet to date. He got it. But the people is still in denial. Kind of have like a sickening feeling in you, something like, man, you went out there in RADIUM, the mountainous terrain, deep valleys, snow, frost, ice, frozen water, streams, probably can call some creeks. You had to trample all the way to get to their nest. So you can thank this man, risk his damn life and limb to track down the most elusive creatures in Americas, in Canada. Canada. Somebody must be smoking the wrong tobacco in their pipe. So some people say it's somebody in a mask, like a female. I'm here to say, no, the head is freaking enormous, you know? I can see it from right here. Just look at the span of his freaking head. It's freaking huge. Okay? And let Dr. John Bigfoot finish.
Area where he's worked on, and with him explaining the background, which is so important. And I'm firmly convinced that he has filmed Sasquatches, and that what he has portrayed in his documentary are indeed very close portraits, in fact, of the Sasquatch face.
Because if indeed they are clearly some of the most astounding photos of Sasquatch in existence.
With all the 10, 20 years of tracking experience I have in the wilderness, there's no way that those structures happen randomly. There's no way.
For y'all personally know the man with the beard is Jeff Meldrum. He is a crypto biologist. Okay. He's highly esteemed. Him and Dr. John Bigfoot. The top tier of this Bigfoot thing. Well, I know it's Sasquatch. All right. Todd extended and took them out on the trail. Let them see what's going on. There we go.
If you got sight of a Sasquatch in those areas with those tree breaks, with those tracks, getting those apples taken, with those sounds, all these things.
For the past 10 years, I've been conducting expeditions, documenting chronicles, and interviewing people pertaining to the subject of Sasquatch. With over 20 years worth of hardcore backcountry expedition experience into the most remote regions, I've tracked and studied various North American species that have had little to no exposure to civilization. I am a student of many disciplines, trained in the art of tracking by a Cree Nation's elder and a military sniper My skill sets include camouflage techniques using the terrain and its features to mask ground movement, obstacle crossing, camping positions, effective observation, camouflage penetration, counter surveillance, survival, evasion, and escape techniques. In 2006, my team and I publicly showed 2 separate crystal clear Bigfoot videos I personally filmed, which we used to petition the Canadian government for species protection of Bigfoot. The petition was certified and tabled in the Canadian House of Commons. The media response was enormous, with hundreds of newspaper, television networks.
If you want to be a
There
successful
you go.
trader, then I recommend you only trade these handful of stocks. Why?
Knowledge Network promotes independent thinking, free from the influence of advertising.
Okay, y'all. All right. So y'all heard that part. Okay, watch this. All right, I'm gonna go to the main one. I was giving y'all a little snippet of it. Okay, just hold on a minute.
That I've seen in my latest.
Not that one, y'all.
They were in the wilderness over there, about 15 yards.
Not that one.
Sasquatch, thank you.
Not that one, y'all. There we go.
We got a lot of squirrels and birds.
Not that one. There we go.
I've been able to see.
Knowledge Network promotes independent thinking, free from the influence of advertising. As a publicly funded broadcaster, our survival is made possible by the generous support of our viewers.
There we go, y'all.
Today, on the call out, the Columbia Valley Search and Rescue scoured the rugged backcountry for a missing field researcher. But there's a twist. The researcher scoured the backcountry as well for Bigfoot, the legendary Sasquatch.
You don't know who this person is, what they're really like.
When he first started out, y'all, that was 11 years ago. That had to be like 2015. I'm gonna say, let me see, 15. No, well, that was 11 years ago on here. Slyvanic Bigfoot. Got 2.7 million views on that 11 years ago. Todd, Canadian, in Burma, British Columbia. That's where he caught up with Jake and Jane. In Burmese, British Columbia, where he was located, I think he either called it RADIUM. I think it's right. I'm not, might be right or might be wrong. But he got bedded down, and he got, he got trapped. I think he ran across the bed. He ran across the nest, and they was trying to get him out of there. But on this one right here, He was so much tricks up his sleeves for them that they were searching for him, but he get the even though he was strapped down, looking up at them, he filmed him. I think it's in RADIUM. All right, let's go.
Monday, 9 a.m. Columbia Valley SAR manager Steve Talsma receives a call for a missing field researcher.
Oh, Steve speaking.
Todd Standing, a 37-year-old Albertan man, had set out alone on a 5-day expedition near Kootenai National Park. He was reported missing by his colleague 48 hours after their scheduled rendezvous.
In that.
Did you hear that? Kootenai National Park. So, Kootenai National Park in Vermont, British Columbia. And the area that he was in probably was called RADIUM. All right, here we go.
Time frame, he could end up in one of the national parks. He could have crossed into Alberta, and my first thoughts were like he could be anywhere.
The southwestern region of the Canadian Rockies, straddling the BC-Alberta border, is renowned for its beauty and virtually untouched wilderness. Kootenai, Yoho, and Banff National Parks represent close to 8,000 square kilometers of this vast expanse. Access to the area is extremely limited, other than a handful of logging and mining roads.
The details we were given is that he didn't have a tent, but he had a sleeping bag and a tarp. He'd been to this area, but wasn't real familiar with it. Okay, I'll get our team together.
Then Steve gets some interesting news.
They went on to say it was someone looking for Sasquatch or Bigfoot, which is, a strange one.
Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch.
Okay, yeah. He didn't really tell him where he was because he was going on a grave mission where the exposure of them will put him at risk of sabotaging his whole mission. So he had to do a survivalist incognito mission in search of the legend, the myth, Sasquatch. Right? Let it rip.
It's derived from the word Sasquatch, which means wild man in the Coast Salish First Nations language. This mythical ape-like creature is said to be between 2 and 3 meters tall and covered in dark brown or reddish hair. Many skeptics discount its existence and any sightings to be a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax rather than a real animal.
When you Google his name, it comes up, like it finishes his name for you, and then says Bigfoot. You get like Todd, Stan, and then the rest finishes.
Todd had been featured prominently in the media and on numerous websites petitioning for the species protection of Gigantopithecus. His goal for this expedition was to capture high-quality footage of Bigfoot. He and his Slyvanic.
Okay, let me remind you all, this has been 11 years ago. So this is iconic footage. Okay, so when you see my podcast, don't get on here talking about, oh, this is bull crap. This is fake. All the dude is behind it. He's trying to promote fakeness. This is the mature, iconic footage from the archives of 10 years ago. From the incognito mission of Todd Standing. So, don't get on here with your bull crap saying it's fake. Because the man want to know how holds bar mission to let y'all see what is out in this big wilderness that we call Canada. Okay? And some parts of Alaska and the Americas. Okay? So let her rip.
Team had tried on numerous occasions to photograph the furry giant with marginal success.
What he was looking for was Bigfoot. You don't know who this person is, what they're really like, and not normal for most of us.
Columbia Valley SAR preps their gear.
Got that. Not normal for most of us. Okay. Did y'all see that he do stuff that people are not willing to go out and do? That's why he became so successful in filming those two separate clips of Big Jake and Jane. All right, let it rip.
And heads out to Kootenai National Park. Once reaching the Mount Assiniboine area, the team checks in with an open pit mine to see if they had spotted the missing subject. No luck. Next, they check out an outfitter's camp further up the road. Still no sign of Todd. They double back and check out yet another outfitter's camp, but there's still no indication that anyone has been there. The team drives to the nearby trailhead and finds a logbook entry that matches with what Todd's colleague had reported. Finally, some progress.
Most missing people will stick on a trail or near a trail. This gentleman, being a field researcher, his goal was to stay off trail and be hidden. So it really changed our approach and how we were thinking.
It's pretty dense bush here. It'd be hard to find a clue.
Okay, y'all, here we come. Okay, that's the Columbia Valley. That's a team member on site. Okay, they search. Todd standing.
Let's just stand right over it.
With little indication of Todd's intended route, they resort to basic search theory.
He's going to need water. So we had two team members go up the trail along the creek, thinking his camp would be somewhere near the water source. One of the team members bent down to tie her shoe, looked up off the trail, maybe 20 meters, and there's a sleeping bag.
Base, this is John.
The dog team was sent in to do the initial search, didn't find anything, went down to the creek and did a more extensive search along the creek. Again, no sign.
Darkness falls, and the team has no choice.
What they don't know is he has been embedded in. He has been trapped. He is fell upon the lair of Big Jake and Jane. He has fell upon a command center. They got him. You have to wait until the morning time. So any movement or whatever, you don't know what they might do to him, but he's trapped. He has found the Sasquatch command center. He has found the lair, so he must stay bedded down. You don't want to give away. You don't want to give away the whole mission in order to capture the new modern iconic photos that it has been in comparison to the Patterson Gimlin, but we call them Jake and Jane, the footage. So people are still falling asleep. They don't want to believe their eyes, because cameras don't lie. Okay? Let it rip.
Choice but to call off the search until the next morning. They leave Todd's sleeping bag at the trailhead and a note telling them that they're searching for him and to stay.
Here are 5 reasons why you should invest in gold and silver. 1. You can convert.
Stay put. Tuesday, 5:45 a.m.
Grab your packs, let's go.
Kimberly Search and Rescue has been called out to assist in the search. The team musters at the SAR Hall and heads out to rendezvous with Columbia Valley Search and Rescue in Invermere, a 2-hour drive north from Kimberly.
I had no idea that we had Bigfoot on our side of the mountains here, so I figured it was going to be a pretty interesting search.
So you're going to be lifted into here. Get into it.
You hear that? Even the researchers don't go out there for how would he do. They don't know nothing about no Bigfoot. But when they're hired for the job, I'm pretty sure they got a handbook saying what things are out there, but they're not highly experienced and educated as Todd saying it is about. They don't go out into no man's land where there's definitely zero population of no people around. Even the researchers, they don't know. They don't go out there deep. All right? Why somebody want to go out there for nothingness? Risk their whole life. Fake. Two big researchers. I'm going to say two fake. Two big feet. Big foot. Two Sasquatches. To get them on film. Risk his life for nothing.
Kimberly Sark get the rundown, then continue on to meet up with the Columbia Valley team already on site. Then the news comes in. The subject has walked out.
They were all pumped up, ready to go, and to get that call, it's like, oh, geez, didn't even make it.
Yeah, we are up the mountain. Subject has been located. So we're just...
It's just one day search for him. But he's an ex-military sniper. He's been in that kind of stuff, he good with tracking. He probably track his own tracks back out. Okay? He's an expert tracker from the Cree Nation. What can you do with that? He's a professional. All right? He's an expert.
The teams turn around and head back to base.
At the end of the day, if it's a good outcome like this was, he walked out of the woods on his own, that's okay. We're happy with that. How are you going to find the most elusive animal on the planet, probably? Because science, has virtually no knowledge of the species. How are you going to find it if you're not going to go out into the depths, deep, dark depths of the mountains? You got to get out there. You got to do some work.
Day one.
Y'all hear that? Okay, he's telling y'all how the hell you going to find him. You have to go deep, beyond no man's land, all right? That's what he did.
Of Todd's journey to find Bigfoot. He's dropped off at the trailhead, where he'll be picked up 5 days later. He sets up base camp and takes off on his journey.
I only bring what I absolutely have to. So my cameras, I have a little tiny backpack that's just got food in it, and that's it. All my other gear is on my person, and it's tight, and I run, I move. I rock climb when I have to. I jump precipice when I need to. I'll do the best I can to live off the land, like the First Nation people have taught me. So I can survive up there pretty well for a short length of time,
Mm-hmm.
My goal was ultimately
for a short length of time, maybe 7 days, 5 to 7 days. He ain't no dummy, Mother Nature is the burden bearer of all things in nature. You have to bend with nature. She don't bend with you. Okay, that's what he's talking about.
not only get a video shot of the day watcher, but to get into the domicile and start seeing if I could see footprints and maybe hair samples and fecal matter and I don't know what else, signs of what they're eating, bones maybe they've left behind from animals they've eaten, I don't know.
After a 2-day venture into the backcountry, Todd is successful in finding a Bigfoot domicile, a well-hidden dwelling where Sasquatches live. He carefully approaches, trying not to alarm the unsuspecting occupants. When he spots the Sasquatch.
There we go. That's it, y'all. Female day watcher. Modern day Patterson and Gimlin. Day watcher Jane. He has broken the veil. This is the modern day Patterson and Gimlin. Okay? So get it through your thick head. He just spotted it on camera. She's a day watcher. I call her nickname Eagle Eye. Cause she damn sure don't blink. She's steady as a hawk. I said eagle. Let her rip.
This guy walked right into an area where I could film him in.
Just look at it. Look how she moving that big head. Well, she looking to see if any kind of movement. But he's down in the ditch, got the camera coming up. Man, she looking. You saw when she fell back like that? She trying to spot him. She can't do it though. He's looking up at them. She don't even know it.
Shoot him, and that's what I got. I know that's a real animal. I know it'll be put to the ringer and whatnot. Eventually, when I can prove the species is real, people will start to understand the reality of it. But it's tremendous evidence for me.
Todd is pleased to have gotten some definitive proof from the elusive giants. Then he gets an unexpected surprise.
With a chickadee, a black and white chickadee that gave me away.
And the bird gave away. Chickadee. That's what they call them. That's what they call kids, you know, chickadees. They gonna give you away, boy. Boy, they're screaming and hollering. You be trying to get some sleep. Chickadee. Little kids, I call them chickadees. That's our little chickadee. In the morning time, kids, they're gonna wake you up. They can be screaming. They're gonna get away. That ain't ready to eat some freaking Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops. Okay, let her rip. See that little chickadee? That little cute little chickadee snitch on Todd standing. It's part of nature, baby. Let her rip.
This chickadee came within about 5 meters or so of me, and he was squawking. I've never seen a chickadee do that. He squawked, and then I could hear the movement around me. When you hear, you know, okay, I've been found.
With his cover blown, Todd finds himself surrounded by angry Bigfoot.
You see? He's crushed in the lair, you know? Mm-hmm. Yep. You got to get up out of there. All right? You got to get it moving. The chickadee done gave him away. Let her rip.
What happened was he stopped me from going up the corridor. Two at least came around behind me, picked up my trail, followed up behind. And when they dialed in on me, he moved back. And the game was over. Now it's get out of there. There's probably 3 different ways I can leave this area. If I don't leave the right way, they let me know. Because things start coming down the mountain, right? And the intimidation starts. So, okay, I'll go this way. How's that sound? And, you know, they like that, so let me go.
As Todd exits the domicile, he manages to capture some evidence of Bigfoot intimidation tactics as a boulder is thrown at him.
You see it go by you and smash and crash on the ground. You get.
So that big gigantic rock. What human can throw a rock that big? Break all your legs. Ain't no nail that strong. Throw no boulder down there like that. You can only throw it but so far. It ain't gonna roll with so far. Come on, man.
You start thinking, you know, like this is, you know, I don't mess with these guys, period. You also see like a 400.
See that big old, look at that gigantic rock. What human can do that without breaking his back? With half of a redwood tree, a red oak tree. Thing is big, humongous.
Pound log that was thrown at me. I'd love to have one of those skeptics there when I'm being pushed out of a domicile. You come out and experience what I've seen, you will be a believer. You don't need to see film. You don't need to have hair come back, analyze the DNA unknown primate. You will realize really fast, bears don't do that. Cougars can't do that. A man couldn't do that, period.
Some say the world has never been more divided, that we've never been more disconnected. But through our windows, we're...
Unless you had, I don't know, a whole crew up there with slingshots and special, the whole Roman Empire is using, it's just not going to happen.
Within a few hours of his retreat from the Sasquatch domicile, he's confronted by a grizzly bear.
He was looking at me, he was dialed in on.
He got his death spray though. Or spray it.
Todd gets out of there.
I went fast, keeping him in mind where he was, and then I hit the rock face. I started the rock climb, got to a spot in the mountain where I felt relatively safe. I never saw the bear after that at all.
After his grisly experience, Todd tries to get some sleep. By now, Todd's colleague had come and gone. Search and rescue was on site, and Todd could see them in the valley below.
They were in unmarked vehicles, and I could see them, but I had no idea they were there for me. I just thought they were hunters. And so I saw them there. They were there for a while. They left. The next day came. I saw those two vehicles drive up again. So I just went down the mountain.
Todd meets up with a very surprised search and rescue team.
They were just very reassuring. They took extremely good care of me. The RCMP, they grilled me about, everything that had gone on.
This is the tree line that becomes a maze that bears, black bears, and grizzly bears.
Look at that tree line, y'all. It's one of the most dangerous tree lines in the world. It's certainly ambush, Grizzly bears, black bears, moose. They'll get you. You can't see nothing. You at a disadvantage, even in the daytime. What can you see in that? The thick foliage. You're sitting up.
Love because they're fantastic ambush spots. And this tree maze goes all the way around.
There was a grizzly bear. There were tracks for the bear. How do you hoax a wild grizzly bear coming up on you just at the worst possible time?
Indeed. No sooner does he escape a band of angry Bigfoot than he's being chased by a wild grizzly bear.
I can play a game with that. It's not funny. I take this so seriously because, search and rescue might get called. The police might get involved. And that's very, very serious.
We're not here to judge. We got called for a missing person.
Okay, y'all. Let me go on this right here. So this is going to be a big J. This might be from, I don't know who it's from, but I'm going to let it roll. Let me see.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm out here in my backyard trying to get shots of mountain lions for some cutaway shots for my next documentary. Just having a little fun walking around in 2 or 3 feet of snow.
All right, y'all. It's 4 years ago. Okay, I'll continue. I'm resuming the video. This is him. 4 years ago. Slyvanic Bigfoot. 254K views. 4 years ago. This is where he captured Big Jake in a previous setting, okay? But I'm gonna let him roll. All right?
Out here, but I'm controversial apparently, very controversial. So let's get into some controversy here. We're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna go over and get deeply into one of the most significant photographic pieces of Sasquatch footage ever recorded. We're going to go into depth with that today and much, much more, so stay tuned. It's all coming up. I've taken out dozens of wildlife officers, PhDs, and had them live interact with Sasquatch on multiple occasions. Trained in the art of tracking by a Cree Nation's elder and a military sniper, my skill sets include camouflage techniques using the terrain and its features to mask ground movement, counter surveillance, survival, evasion, and escape techniques. So I'm excited about today's show. We're going to have lots of fun about this controversial character by the name of Todd. We'll get into a whole bunch of controversy with that. My controversy, I guess, and go into some really important topics and It's going to be fun. I'd like to thank all the new people that are involved in my cooperation so much for their support, all the help I've been getting. If you've seen a Sasquatch or you have evidence of a Sasquatch, please send us an email at bigfootencounter@gmail.com. You can go to my website, Slyvanic.com, and go to the forums, talk to a bunch of amazing people that are on the forums there, just having some wonderful conversations, talking about Sasquatch and evidence, and skeptics and believers and non-believers and knowers and non-knowers are all welcome there. So we're going to start this YouTube video off with a segment on one of my favorite topics that's so important. It's the art of Sasquatch coming up next. So a question today from the forum, really good question. I love questions that go beyond what everybody always asks, the same old, same crap. Somebody, a guy who's starting to do new research, asked what I did to find my research site. And what an amazing question. This is a question that really taxed me and made me really think hard. So for me personally, my initial research area was in the United States. The original Slyvanic area is there. And a whole bunch of crap happened there that really sucked. And I was asked by the locals to leave because, some really bad situations transpired, and had nothing to do with me. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But anyways, I left. So what did I do to get the next research spot? Well, honestly, I just started looking on the maps. Personally, what I was looking for was something remote, something that a place where I would love to go. Because if you're going to do Sasquatch research in a spot, you're going to go there a lot. You're going to spend a lot of time there. So I picked an area that was totally beautiful, that was famous for its Sasquatch, which is the Kootenai beer. You can look that up. There's a beer called Kootenai beer. It's all about Sasquatch. But almost more importantly, it was an area that I was very familiar with, an area where I could survive well, an area I had been trained to live in. And I just got into that area using all my skills, my tracking skills, my science knowledge. So just short and simple to the point. If you're not really in love with the wilderness, if you're not in love with the trees and the animals and the plants, don't do Sasquatch research at all, because that's what they are. They are the masters of the wilderness. So if you don't have that connectivity in the first place, you shouldn't even be doing this research. I don't know. Go find something else to do. Go find another passion. There's lots of things to be passionate about. But find an area that you love, learn the area, study the area. I mean, there's going to be, if there's Sasquatch in the area, it's going to take so long for you to get good success, at least from what I know about. Even talking about gorillas and chimpanzees, the people that study them, it takes so long, even a decade, to get really good success with gorillas and chimpanzees. So if you're going to be there all that time, find a spot that you love.
Stop. You see, took a lot of patience for this man to come up with these videos and stuff, portraits. Time and patience. So it took him a lot of man hours for the man to come up tracking down these elusive creatures, the legends, the boss and bosses of the woods, the wilderness of North America and Canada and Alaska combined.
Passionate about it. It's wonderful. All the discoveries you can make, not just Sasquatch, but the animals, the plants, the trees, the ecosystem, the changing of the season, like love it all, the earth, the water, the rocks, study it, learn it. Every little piece of knowledge, every single little piece will move you forward and add to your success. Learn the area, love the area, and again, in that art, in that love, in that passion, all your success will come through. And if there are no Sasquatch in an area, at least you'll have had that. At least you'll have had that success and that learning experience, so you can move on to the next area that potentially would have Sasquatch at. And then you can use all these skills. It's just never a waste. Life is so short. There's so little time. And, take advantage of it and really love nature, love the wilderness, get passionate about it, and be smart, feel with your heart, and, see beyond the science, see beyond what everybody else sees. Because you're going to have to do that if you're going to want to be one of the people that can, see a Sasquatch and interact with a Sasquatch. Anytime somebody calls me and tells me about their Sasquatch experience, whether they're traumatized by it or, super happy about it, the first thing that comes to my mind is congratulations. Renee DeHinden, John Green, Peter Burns, all these men that spent a lifetime searching for Sasquatch and never even saw one. You know, can you imagine that? Spending decades of your...
John Green, Peter Byrne. That's my guy there. He along with John Beckernagger. Very wise and mature. Just a man. Kind of like a voice like mine, you know, real deep voice. He wears he used to wear that safari hat all the time. I think it's him. Man, very wise. Peter Byrne. Kind of got like a British accent though. Got a deep voice though. I think it's him. That's what I'm used to watching though. Him and John Beckernagger, they was the first ones out there, you know. When I was very young, you know, coming up. First Todd Stanley used to see him too.
Life. I'd never seen more than a track that's old, never actually having seen one or been around one or live interacted with one. There's a lot of people that have lived and not succeeded like that. So if you have seen a Sasquatch, you've had success with it, I think there might be something special. It's special. It's just really special. And just let's leave it at that. So that's my advice to finding a research area and moving forward, starting with this, because and that's all I did. And I don't know, maybe Sasquatch are everywhere, maybe they're hardly anywhere, but it really wasn't really difficult for me either when I got to an awesome remote area. And you'll move, right? You'll go through an area, you'll spend miles and miles until you hit the right spot. And that's really what the key was for me, was moving and spending days in the backcountry and finding that sweet spot, finding those signs, those tracks, having those interactions, and then that's where you stay, that's where you grow. And it's never that spot. You always evolve, always change, always move. And you know, a key thing to, you know, the term insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Change, grow, evolve. The problem with science can be that it fights change so dramatically. It can't see the forest, the people, which is the Sasquatch, through the trees sometimes, and that can be frustrating. So, you know, open your mind, live, love, be passionate about it, and you can't ever have anything but success if you do that in life. So that's my advice. So upcoming next, one of my favorite topics, the science of Sasquatch. Stay tuned. So there are really two pieces of footage. Well, two people that have filmed Sasquatch, maybe I should say more specifically. My footage, there's 8 videos and many photographs and just a lot of photographic evidence. It's my stuff, and for sure the Patterson footage that I'm very confident that the Patterson footage is real and authentic, extremely confident. In fact, I think it's pretty much impossible. I don't like that word at all, but I think it's impossible that footage was faked. I think it absolutely has to be real. And of course my footage, because I was there and I know without a doubt, 100%, that the footage is authentic. So in both pieces of footage that I'm absolutely certain are authentic, which is mine and the Patterson footage, they all have a nose that's not that indented nose, but even it's been referred to sometimes as the aquatic nose, in that when we go in water, our noses are built where it holds the air in and the cavity doesn't fill up with water. And on a gorilla, chimpanzee, and orangutan, it's been noted they really don't like water for many reasons, not just because of their body weight and their body mass and their inability to float, because of their nose. Their nose is built like a bowl that would hold water. This is a phenotypical fact that exists with Sasquatch. When people, I don't really ever hear people say anymore that the nose is like a gorilla. There's a couple statues and drawings that have that gorilla look to it, and I just haven't seen it. And in all the sightings that I feel are very authentic, we're all in agreement that it's the aquatic nose, and obviously in the Patterson footage and my footage, that's that aquatic nose. So I guess the question would be, let's even forget about water and swimming, because I don't know how that could really be significant, but what would truly be significant would be their ability to smell. The chimpanzees and gorillas have a longer nose, an elongated face, even the orangutans do. And we have a more flat face with a flat nose. And I guess what the question would be is, are Sasquatch going to have an excellent sense of smell or not? So a very good question. Bears and wolves are known for their exceptional sense of smell to find prey. And I'll tell you what I do know for a fact is I think Sasquatch have an excellent sense of smell, and I'll tell you why. I was, this is years ago when I first was coming into my research area where I filmed Video 5.
Have you noticed that in times of uncertainty and stress throughout the world, history will chronicle people that decided to.
And before I had any kind of, well, there was no long range camera at that time, nothing really more than 20 times optical that I had. But I had a scope that was like a long binocular that was tripoded up on a mountain. And I left it there just for the whole season. Anyways, one year I hiked up that mountain, and I'm very clean. I eat really clean. I diet really clean. So I don't really smell when I sweat like a lot of people do. I'm very toxic free. Don't take my word for it. Ask my mom, ask my wife, ask my friends. I can sweat like crazy and I don't really give off any odor. Anyways, when I was hiking up the mountain, I remember I was getting a little warm. The sun was coming up, and I took my glove off my hand and put it in my pocket. And my hand was not sweaty or anything. I just took it off because it was warm, and I placed it on a tree, took a break. I don't know, just took a look around. And for some reason, I felt like it was a pivotal moment. I don't know why. It turns out later on, so I got up to the top of that mountain and got on my scope, and lo and behold, there were two Sasquatch following my trackway up through the rocks, bang on, moving in a way like I've seen Native Americans do, like I've seen First Nations trackers do. It was exceptional. It blew my mind. Sort of even now helped me to realize how they are what I refer to as heart trackers, like brilliant, amazing trackers that track based on energy. And anyways, what they did do though, as they were following that trackway over rocks that were solid rocks, not had moved, clearly moving precisely as I had. As they approached that tree, one of them, I could see him, and again, I've got a long binocular that's seen for a mile, and I saw them quite well. And the first individual, as he approached the tree, he was smelling, and I could see him moving his head and smelling. He got within, I would say, 10 inches of where I put my hand, and you could see his face just go like, whoa, smell. And he looked at it, and he looked over at the other Sasquatch, and the other one came back up on his shoulder, and this one moved even a little closer. You could see his eyes squinting like he was like, oh my God, how could you tolerate that? And again, I'm not a guy who's odorous whatsoever. My hand certainly wasn't. I mean, anyways, I was just clean.
Y'all see that? So that's why, like, when you go out there, you have no chemicals on your body. If you're searching for one, they already smell you, before you even. So you can't even go out there. Even took a bath in about a couple of days or whatever. So you bathe off. You bathe in that soap, that certain soap that don't give off no kind of odor. Non-deodorant soap. I forgot the name of it. But it's going to show you the disadvantage that you have towards when you're searching for a Sasquatch. You lay your hand down anywhere on a tree. If they're tracking you, they can smell. Especially like a woman, she like to wear perfume and stuff, So if she out there in the wilderness searching for Sasquatch, if she made a mistake and left her perfume for 4 days, it's a wrap. The mission is blown. So there we go.
And that Sasquatch got his nose within, I would say, 6 inches of the tree. You could just see him smell exactly, precisely where I'd put my hand, and just shake his whole body like, holy crap. And they looked up the hill, and then, moved off in a direction that was stealthy, and came up behind me, and, had some wonderful interactions with them. Didn't get any footage that time, but an incredible experience. Anyways, the point of it all is that they don't have an elongated snout of any kind. They have a very flat face and a flat nose like us, which doesn't leave a lot of room for olfactory sensory perception, sense of smell. And yet, man, to have smelled that, my goodness, I think they have, based on that knowledge that I've seen, I would have to say they have an incredible sense of smell, an amazing sense of smell, a very high degree sense of smell. And so, the phenotype is a fact. My visual confirmation of their ability to smell I mean, it's a fact. That's what I saw. That's the reality, but there's no way that was a coincidence. So know that when you're out there, when you're doing research with this species, wind gauge, they move based on the wind gauge. And I think there's an extremely good reason for that, not only as a predator, but as the ability to keep the upper hand. Even, I don't think Sasquatch move without being completely aware of the wind gauge, which is also why I tell people, if you smell a Sasquatch, believe me, the first thing you better get through your head is he damn well knows that you can smell him. He's letting you know he's there. He doesn't have to give you the wind gauge. They knew you were coming a long time before you ever got there. You can smell a Sasquatch. There's more to it than that. We'll get into that some other day. Remember, he damn well wants you to smell him. He damn well knows you're there. This is not like, oh, there's a Sasquatch around and he probably doesn't know about me. No. They live and die. This is their first nature, is to know wind gauge. So if you smell a Sasquatch, he's already got the upper hand on you. He's known you were there. He's way, way, way ahead of you. So keep that in mind before you start doing something stupid. This being is highly intelligent, highly adept, and he's telling you, like punch in the face, I am here. So important stuff, and most assured facts that you can absolutely count on in this discovery process. So next is a question from our cooperation. So stay tuned. Hope you're having fun because I'm loving it out here. Awesome question. I had a long conversation this week with a new member of my cooperation, Ray from North Dakota. Hey, Ray. Wonderful conversation with a brilliant man that works for Fish and Wildlife. Very happy to have him on board. Anyway, so many questions that have never been posed to me out of all the thousands of interviews I've done. And today we're going to go into my video 5 footage, which again is what Jeff Meldrum, John Bitternagel, and so many others, Les Stroud, if it is indeed real footage, which is what my colleague and friend Jeff Meldrum says, if indeed it is authentic footage, and it is clearly some of the most significant video evidence of all time to do with Sasquatch, and it is indeed absolutely authentic. So what Ray asked me was, how'd you get that footage, Todd? Ooh, wow, you know what, Ray? Nobody asked me that stuff. I literally am going to make a documentary just about what it took to get each one of those videos. I mean, I could write a book about every single one of them. So just really getting the point and being short of it. Video 5 was me standing on the shoulders of my mentor from Great Falls, Montana, and all the people that have helped me in this cooperation. The videos that I film, I name them the Slyvanic videos, and Slyvanic means shadow guardian of the mountain in a First Nations language, Assiniboine. In that, the importance of cooperation is my friend and mentor from Great Falls, Montana, is a second-generation Sasquatch researcher, and the reason I was able to get that sex is the knowledge of what we call day watchers. And knowing, since again, I'm standing on the shoulders of great men and women, he gave me this knowledge we found what I would say is a hole in the way the day watcher goes into his spot and how he continuously may move back to that same spot, and even know how to identify a day watcher spot. So finding that hole in their defense system, I guess you'd call it, we took advantage of that, and I was preemptively in the day watcher spot before the day watcher ever got there. So what's cool and amazing though is,
y'all see that? You said he was hunkered down in the day watcher spot. So I was kind of correct though, when he got those videos, he was hunkered down. He was hunkered down in the spot though, and they was trying to see. They was trying to figure out where he was until the little chickadee gave him up.
The way the day watcher spot was discovered was my friend and mentor from Great Falls, Montana. His uncle was the first generation of Sasquatch researcher in his family, because his uncle was out in the wilderness in Montana, and he got caught in an avalanche, just about killed him. But what happened was, when he was caught in the avalanche, he got lucky and was able to get behind a large boulder that was against another boulder, and in between them, there was a space that he was able to, the avalanche just didn't get to him where he stayed. And the avalanche covered him up so dramatically. He had a really, good-sized pocket of air that he could use to breathe. And it took him 2 days to dig himself out of this spot. Anyways, long story short, after he dug his way out of the spot, 2 days, boom, he pops up out of the snow. He walks up on a ridge, and there was a Sasquatch in its day watcher spot. The Sasquatch didn't know that he was there, likely because he was under 2 huge boulders and, however, 20 feet of snow that from the avalanche. And it was because of that, the Sasquatch wasn't watching and paying attention. And this man walked all the way up the ridge, saw the Sasquatch, and I went to this spot where he had this sighting. And I'll tell you, when the Sasquatch got out of its day watcher spot, it had nowhere to hide. His testimony was he literally watched the Sasquatch walk 200 yards. It turned, looked at him, kept looking at him. A lot like he says the Patterson footage, the way it turned its body to move, its head wasn't able to swivel off the top of its shoulders as a human being's would. But he literally had this incredible sighting where he was even able to get hair from it that was later analyzed at Berkeley University as an unknown.
Well, stop right there. Wasn't able to swivel off his head like a human being would. Okay, y'all seen my other video? I never watched this video before. What I was trying to explain to y'all about how that I call it Bluffy and some Patterson Gimlin film, and she kept turning. She wasn't able to swivel that neck around like that. Man, I mean, when she turned her head, it was like almost around and hard to hold body. So a human can't do that. A human got to like swivel the whole head, but she could. Like she just turning her neck and her head just all the way around, but her feet is in front of her. So that's the answer to what I was trying to get out to y'all in my first video, showing all about the Patterson Gimlin film, the Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. My first video. All right, let it rip.
Species. And anyways, the most important thing, though, even besides the trackway that he discovered and the track length and all the information he was able to derive from this incredible encounter, the most important thing was the discovery of a day watcher spot and what to look for. And precisely what was at that day watcher spot that day, what he identified, was what we used to identify this day watcher spot. Knowing that a day watcher is only there during the day and not at night, I was able to get into that spot after dozens of failed attempts. This particular time, the day I shot video 5, I was able to get in there by doing some pretty cool, amazing things that have never really been done in nature before by using a new technology, simply polyurethane for me to walk in a creek. And like no being can do, no living being walks up creeks for miles and miles, especially, well, not in glacier runoff because you freeze to death. Not even a deer or an elk with ungulate hoofs. Your legs would freeze up. And that new technology was polyurethane, and there's a lot more to it than that. There's layers and layers to this. I could go on for hours. But anyhow, that was, I think, the primary piece of information that was given to me. Why I don't call it the Todd Standing videos, and no one ever calls it that, because every video I've ever shot is based on enormous cooperation. And I'm so grateful for all the help I've received and continue to receive. This cooperation is growing in leaps and bounds. Man, get involved if you can. My goodness, there's so much going on here. I have so much room to grow. I need so much help. So let's get into it now. The controversy of it all. Video 5 of Todd Standings, right? The idiot morphing of my head into it. Wow, let's get up to that. Let's do it right here, right now. Let's get into it next.
I've been able to see for the first time some complete segments of Todd Standings filming of Sasquatch in another area where he's working.
If you're thinking about changing your career, I really recommend you pick a career where you can change other people's lives, because in changing
worked on, and with him explaining.
Here we go, y'all. You about to break it down piece by piece. Let it rip.
In the background, which is so important. And I'm firmly convinced that he has filmed Sasquatches and that what he has portrayed in his documentary are indeed very close portraits, in fact, of the Sasquatch face.
Because if indeed they are clearly some of the most astounding photos of Sasquatch in existence.
With all the 10, 20 years of tracking experience I have in the wilderness, there's no way that those structures happen randomly. There's no way that you got sight of the Sasquatch in those areas with those tree breaks, with those tracks, getting those apples taken, with those sounds, all these things. Anyways, let's go into this real quick because I have to. I'm not going to name this thinker, this self-proclaimed thinker man. Let's just leave it at that. He's you have to understand, first of all, this is my footage. It cost me so much to get this footage. Time, money, effort.
I can see Bigfoot with his head going down, yeah. I can see the lips and everything. That's Big Jake right there. Just gonna show y'all Big Jake. All right.
For risking my life, losing so much. It just blows my mind what it takes to get footage like this. Ask any wildlife photographer. Imagine they go out and get incredible footage of whales or lions or.
Trying to get a good opening, y'all. See, I keep moving the camera. Okay, Big Jake. He don't know he down there. Big Jake is frozen in time, If you didn't have a camera, you wouldn't even recognize his camouflage. You look like he's part of the tree. So let it rip.
All the stuff that they do, and some asshole comes and steals it all. And you are an asshole when you steal like that. So I would sue all these people, but it'd be a waste of time and money, and I have more important things to do, obviously, which is the discovery of Sasquatch. So, but anyways, this person who stole footage from me, and you know what's ironic about stealing footage from me? I would just give it to you if you asked. But no, thieves, steal, lie. When you look at this piece of footage, the first thing that we discovered is my head's been widened, and the
Look at it, y'all. It is definitely mutiny on the high seas, man. Todd's tiny head is so big. It's freaking amazing. Like a freaking balloon head, So, I'll let him finish.
Sasquatch's head has been thinned, so to match that up, very convenient, right? Isn't that amazing? He widened my head and thinned the Sasquatch. No big deal, right? Just blowing the proportions right out. But even though he did those things, those lying, cheating things, after he stole my footage, big shocker, a thief lied. Wow, didn't see that coming, right? So, anyways, after he widened my head, thinned the head of the Sasquatch, it still doesn't fit, and this is laughable. When you watch the rest of this video, you're going to see how goddamn laughable this manure is. This is garbage. My nose doesn't fit in there. Not even close. This twit at the...
Yeah, y'all. His nose don't fit. No comparison. Look at the space between Big Jake. Big Jake eyes and the nose. Look at Big Jake nose. Look how big it is. Look how far it go down. Even when he widen it. Look at the size of Big Jake nose. Look at that box right there. Look at the limited box right there. This little corner here. Big Jake take over the whole box almost. So I'm standing just a little bit right there. Allegedly, I know who you're talking about. I'm just calling him the Thunk Man. Yeah, the Thunk Man just get over the top, I ain't gonna call the rest of the name though. The Thunk Man was full of shit, Excuse me. YouTube. I know it's family show.
At this point, looks at it and goes, gee, look, it all matches up perfectly. No, my nose is out by 1/2 inch. So not even close, buddy. And if I'm in there, which is just laughable as, oh my God, what a bloody joke. If my head was in there, which is clearly not because it's a giant Sasquatch, and I'll show the proportions of this head that I've absolutely definitively proven with 100% certainty that this Sasquatch's head is absolutely enormous, and I'll put my head into it. I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but a part of me is kind of grateful because now we've
Head is freaking huge, y'all. Mm-hmm. Yep. He's telling the truth, y'all. Let it rip.
Done some amazing stuff to prove the size of this being, to prove that 3 eyes fit in the middle. There's just a lot of stuff we've learned, and we're going to go through all that right now. So let's continue on and get to it. I'm out here just to go through something very interesting.
There we go, y'all. You better break it down. Okay. All right. So let me see how much time we got left. So whatever time you got left, y'all. I'm not gonna get in the way. This is pre-recorded from 4 years ago. I'm not gonna say another word. I'm gonna let y'all be the judge. But he is gonna break it down piece by piece. I'm about to step away from this video. Fair use. Copyright. This is for educational purpose right here. And I'm about to step away. It's not for me to say another word. Okay? Let Mr. Todd stand. Figure it out for y'all. Show y'all what's going on. And y'all be the judge. Okay. Here we go.
Thing that in one of my Sasquatch videos, it's quite famous, my video 5, it's been challenged that my head has been ridiculously superimposed into the Sasquatch's head that I filmed, which blew my mind because you can take Andre the Giant's head and superimpose it into a baby's head, and it'll match perfectly. You can move the parameters. I mean, this is obvious to anybody who knows anything about photographs. You can make it wider, taller, 200% large, 50% large, it's all the same. What you can't do, though, here in the Canadian Rocky Mountains is, this is a Rocky Mountain Douglas fir. They're everywhere. They're in the Sasquatch video. And as you can see, this Douglas fir, this little itty bitty Douglas fir, the pine needles, here's my little tape measure, that's 1 inch, are not even 1 inch long, less than 3/4 inch. This is about a 4 foot tall conifer. This one being 8 feet, ironically enough, they'll have to, there again is 1 inch, and there's the needle, less than 1 inch. So these tiny trees, again, Rocky Mountain Douglas fir needles, are less than 1 inch. This over 100 foot tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, give me a moment to go grab a pine needle. Pine needle leaf from over 100 foot tall Rocky Mountain Douglas fir. And as you can see, the 100 foot tree, just like the 8 foot tall tree, just like the 4 foot tree, all the pine needles, dead or alive, are less than 1 inch. Now, when we measure the proportions of this less than 1 inch pine needle of a Rocky Mountain Douglas fir, which is filmed right beside that Sasquatch, you're going to understand vividly, clearly why I found this morphing of my head into this giant, enormous Sasquatch absolutely laughable. So let's go through that right now. Here we are at the diagram of the morphing head that my head was morphed into. Something good that can come out of this is I do have to say that I've been pushed into doing an analysis of this head. And here we are with that analysis. So you can see in the top area by a pine needle, I have a little blue marker. And that blue marker is, that pine needle is approximately 3/4 of an inch, Rocky Mountain pine needle, as I've discussed. And you'll see up, there's a little blue thing that's going to be approximately 1 inch. And then when you go down to the Sasquatch head, so I took that 1 inch and kept it at the same angle, and you can see that there with the red. So the red is just that angle brought down to the Sasquatch head. Then the yellow, which is straightened out, is just, I took that precise size and I just straightened it out so we could use it as a measurement. And then the green, what you'll notice is I've decreased the size by 10% because the pine needle is significantly in front of the Sasquatch's head that you see there. So the gentleman who actually had that lens, there's a big long story behind the whole lens of it that I smashed and took me a year to pay for, but they knew the exact parameters of that lens, analyzed this footage and told me that approximately 10 to 15, that Sasquatch, if you took that Rocky Mountain Douglas fir needle and pushed it back to the Sasquatch head is, you should decrease the size, like I said, 10 to 15%. So to err on the side of conservative, I've decreased it by just 10%, and that's what the little green marker is. And then you can see the green markers that go all the way across. You'll notice that there are 14 of them, 14 1-inch green markers. That Sasquatch was enormous, in case you were wondering. He was absolutely gigantic. You'll see there that his nose alone is 3 inches wide, which is just totally amazing. The separation between his eyes is approximately 8 inches. And as you can see in this photograph of me, I've measured the width of my head, just using me as an example because I don't want to give any credence to the what do I even call him? The idiot that morphed my head into a Sasquatch. When I looked at this footage and made me laugh was, the shot is obviously handheld. It's clearly not on a tripod. If I wasn't filming, who was? And the answer is, I was. Nobody else has ever been that far up with me, ever. Not even Survivor Man. It's in the hella middle of nowhere. So, I mean, and then it blew my mind to see that this Sasquatch, who I saw live in person, I was there looking at him, was over 700 pounds. I have his height measured at 8'6", because after I had filmed him and I came out of my position, he moved off and I saw him go under a branch of a tree. As I went past that branch, he didn't duck. His head nearly touched that branch. I reached up as high as I could reach, and his head had gone under that. So I knew he was approximately that tall. And width, he was enormous. He was a Sasquatch. He was Gigantopithecus. He was absolutely enormous. To put my little itty bitty 240-pound body in with his is absolutely asinine and ridiculous. I apologize, but I just don't know what else to say.
Hey guys, I just have to do another breakdown of this Todd Standing thing. I have to talk about this publicly or I'll go crazy. So everyone has seen this GIF here. That's Todd Standing there. This is the Sasquatch. Look how it morphs into Todd Standing. Now, a lot of people really find this very, very compelling. In fact, lots of people in the Bigfoot community actually feel like this is solid proof. They'll even go as far as to say, this GIF right here.
Did you know that Everly Life is more than just life insurance? It also includes living benefits that are typically tax-free. With Everly, part of the coverage amount can be accessed in case of a serious illness. This matters because most people think they're fine if they have health insurance. Yet, 2/3 of people who file for bankruptcy cite medical issues as a key reason for their financial difficulties. And nearly half of millennials have medical debt, more than any other age group. Even with health insurance, medical bills can pile up. Quinn is 41 when she is diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Because Quinn is an Everly Life policyholder, she can access part of her death benefit now, because invasive cancer is a covered illness. Living benefits are just that, made for living. Quinn can use her benefit while she is still alive to help with treatment costs, allow her to take time off work, or for anything else. Quinn wants to take a 6-month leave from her job to recover, and she and her family decide they could use some extra money to help pay some of the bills her health insurance won't cover, like the mortgage, car payment, soccer clinics for her daughter, and music lessons for her son. Quinn's coverage amount is $500,000, with an available living benefit of up to $250,000. She can accelerate this $250,000, which means she can receive a portion of it now. The $250,000 is reduced because she is receiving it before her death. In Quinn's example, the $250,000 living benefit value is worth $165,000, which she receives tax-free. She still has the remaining $250,000 coverage in place. The amount Quinn received was based on how her cancer diagnosis may impact her life expectancy. If she had been less ill, she likely would have received a lesser amount. Likewise, if her cancer had been more advanced, she likely would have received a higher amount. Quinn's money is automatically deposited into the bank account on file. Because it's part of her life insurance coverage amount, it's tax-free, doesn't need to be paid back, and doesn't need to be claimed as income on a tax return. Because Quinn took advantage of the living benefits available to her, she didn't have that financial worry or stress. She was able to focus on what mattered most, getting better. And that's why we call Everly Life, life insurance made for living.
Hey, the people at Discovery Channel came to me and asked me to do the impossible, go undercover and show the world how fast it would take me to build $1 million business. In fact, they asked me to build $1 million business with no money, no contacts, only $100. That's no money, by the way. And I had to build $1 million business in 90 days. Well, not only did I do it in Undercover Billionaire, but I crushed it and built a $5.5 million business in 90 days, actually a little less than that. Look, I want to show you behind the scenes truth of how I did this, okay? Exactly how I did it, exactly the strategies and the steps I did to do it, and most importantly, how you can do it. When you click the link below or the button below to see the special training, it's completely free, costs you nothing. I put this together for you to see how many people I can actually turn into millionaires in the shortest period of time possible. This is a highly personalized training, and you're going to walk away with a step-by-step game plan for yourself on how you too can become a millionaire. Look, I'm going to take this ad down. You will not see it serve you again. So if you want to take advantage of this for free, click the link below, claim your seat, go to the page, register, and I'll see you on the other side at the workshop. Let's go get you $1 million.
Those faces melded together is proof that Todd Standing is wearing a mask. So that's actually very, very interesting. Let's actually think about that for a second. Let's just go really, really basic, really, really logically. All those who believe that that morphing GIF is actually really good evidence that it's a mask, they'll have to say that this is a real mask for a face to go in. They believe that Todd Standing's face is the face that is inside of this mask. So they believe a real person is inside of this mask. Remember these steps, because I have to really break it down so that people will understand how absolutely ludicrous this is. They believe that these eyes are Todd Standing's eyes. Therefore, they believe that these eyes are real eyes. These eyes, the Bigfoot community, the people that are calling Todd Standing a hoaxer, are saying that these eyes in the photo are actually real eyes. If you're going to argue that this is a mask, then you have to argue that those eyes are people's eyes. They're real, so a real living, breathing, biological person. So in other words, those are not taxidermy fake eyes. Okay, you follow me? Okay. So if you're going to argue that the GIF is good evidence, then you have to argue that this is a mask and that Todd Standing is in the mask, therefore these eyes are real. Okay. Now, my question to you guys who think that this is a mask and think that these eyes are real and it's Todd Standing inside. Do you know of a mask that will come down and touch your eyeballs? I want to talk about Batman for a second. While Christian Bale was in the Batman outfit, he had to wear dark eyeshadow. And why is that? It's because if he had the mask on without the dark eyeshadow, you can see his eyelids and his flesh, and it just looks wrong. This just does not look like Batman. Okay? So with the mask on, you have to be wearing dark eyeshadow. Why? Because the mask doesn't come all the way to your eyelids. See, the mask doesn't come all the way to the edge of, this is Michael Keaton. It doesn't come all the way to the edge of the eyelids. You'd need a very thin mask that actually adheres to the human skin. It'd be an extremely crazy, huge undertaking to have a mask that actually adheres straight, that goes straight down to the eye. Okay? And we're not even talking about a mask that actually touches the eye. Okay? Because, see, you can see the really bright colored flesh of the inside of the eyelid right here. All right? Now, even with all this makeup on, notice that you can still see that bright strip of flesh, and you can see the whites of Batman's eyes. Now, they do that because the mask does not come down. It would be extremely uncomfortable if Batman's mask, the plastic mask or the rubber, whatever, actually touched his eyeball. In fact, that would, no actor would go for that. That'd be horrible. Okay, my point is that if you're going to say that this is Todd standing in a mask, the mask itself comes all the way down to and actually touches his eyeballs. You can't even see the fleshy interior. I mean, you can see the shine, but that's not lighter colored skin. That's actually just the shine. The skin directly around the eyeball is actually dark still. So maybe you could argue that Todd standing, well, actually, you can't argue that Todd standing is wearing makeup around his eyes. I guess you have to argue then that Todd standing is this is Todd standing, and that he's wearing contacts that are like really dark and gigantic and cover the whites of his eyes. But then you're going to have to argue that the whites of his eyes would fit in this space. Now look at this, guys. If you argue that Todd Standing is wearing giant contacts, you're trying to tell me that his eyes are very tiny. Look, any way that you argue this, it does not work. There's no possible physical way for a human being to fit inside of this, because the eye span, the structure of the face, and the distance between the eyes is so dramatically different. So where the eyes meet and there's that little red thing, that's called a caruncle. A caruncle, that's that little tiny red bead in the corner, in the inside corner of our eyes. Okay, so from that caruncle, from this corner to that corner, I've measured, and that's about the span. Okay? And if you're going to try to argue that Todd's, the only part of the eye that is visible is Todd's irises, then you have a whole nother problem that I'm going to talk about in a second. My point is that there is literally no possible physical way, it defies the laws of physics, for this to be Todd standing in this mask. Okay, the distance between the eyes. On my last video I said it was 2, but now that I've actually measured it closely, there is almost 3 eye spans in between the eyes on this alleged Sasquatch. Now remember, people think that the eyes are real eyes. In other words, they're not plastic. This isn't a taxidermy thing. People that are arguing that Todd Standing is a hoaxer are also, this is very significant, they are also arguing that these eyes are real, because they're saying it's a mask, so therefore they're arguing that the eyes are real. Okay, so if you believe that Todd Standing is a hoaxer, and you believe in that stupid morphing GIF, then you are literally a walking contradiction. You prove your own self wrong. A lot of people say that there's like a square around the nose, and that it's a prosthetic fake nose. That's freaking stupid. There's nothing to indicate that at all. Some people say that the corner of the mouth is photoshopped wrong. I've looked into that argument. It's stupid as well. It's baseless. There's no good argument that I can see at all just period at all. The only thing that people can say to provide quote unquote evidence that this is fake is to try and attack Todd Standing's character. How is Todd Standing's character, whether his character is good or bad, how does that have any bearing as far as direct evidence that this picture is true?
What am I doing wrong? I'm putting my blood, sweat, and tears into these ads.
Why are you so anxious, man?
Because I'm not reaching new audiences.
So why don't you open a Taboola account?
What?
Don't ask so many questions, bro. Just trust me. Enter your details here. Now, let's start a campaign. Taboola's platform helps you reach new audiences that you can target by their reading interests. For example, if you choose gaming, culture, and arts, or maybe autos. With Taboola, your ads meet the most relevant audience.
But how do the ads appear?
And now, results. Now you just need to relax and let Taboola ads do its magic. Start now.
True or false? That's freaking, guys, the logic, the thought process is so incredibly asinine and juvenile. But if you separate all the emotion and the hatred against him and you just look at the raw stuff that he has provided, it's actually extremely compelling. Not to mention the fact that I've seen two Sasquatch that look an awful lot. My second sighting looked almost exactly like this one. Those are Todd's irises. Wouldn't you say that's fair? That's the size of Todd's irises. Okay. There's the Bigfoot's irises. Wouldn't you say that's fair? That's the size of the Bigfoot iris. If you actually take the Bigfoot iris and you pull it over here, then what you're seeing is that the irises don't match up. So if you try to create a GIF that morphs these faces together, what you are going to see inevitably, listen closely. So this is called the scientific method. We are making a prediction, okay? We're making a prediction that we should expect to see in reality if this is true. If Todd Standing really is in here, this would not be a problem. But if Todd Standing does not fit in this face, then what we are going to see is during the morphing of the GIF, the Sasquatch's eyes are going to pull towards the center. Okay? The Sasquatch's eyes are a lot wider than Todd Standing's eyes, even when you put them on the same scale. Think about that. If that went over your head, pause and think about how significant that is. Okay, now let's watch this GIF very closely. Now, okay, watch when it goes back to Sasquatch. Boom, the iris is actually, see this shine right here? See that lighter part? That is not the white of the eye. Remember, there is no white on the eye. Let me take this stuff off. There's no white. That little white part that you see is actually a shine, and the iris comes out left of the shine. So let's watch that one more time. Okay, watch this. See that shine? The iris is to the left of it. And they're trying to say that whoever morphed this shit together is trying to say that the left side of Todd's iris is all the way over here. The Sasquatch's iris is all the way over here. So we see exactly what we just predicted. We see that the Sasquatch's iris is wide, it's all the way out here, and then it starts to go cross-eyed, and both of his irises pull to the center as the GIF morphs. So it does not match at all. The person didn't understand that this little gleam in the Sasquatch's eye was not a white. It was not the white. It was not outside of the iris. See how horribly that matches up? This is part of the Sasquatch's iris. I think another funny thing about this is that Todd Stanning's face, I believe, has been widened. It's been stretched just a little bit. The person who did this probably didn't think anyone would notice, but his face has been stretched just a little bit but it's still, even though I think it's been stretched a little bit, could be wrong on that, but still, it doesn't match up at all. Now watch how the nose grows. The nose grows, guys, all the way down here. Todd Stanning see the Sasquatch, you can see the underside of his nose, the top of the Sasquatch's nose is all the way up here. Todd Stanning's nose is all the way down here. But nobody cares about these details, right? Nobody cares about the details. I think it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. The entire structure of the face changes. The forehead, everything changes. The width of the head actually changes. Look at this. It's just completely hilarious. This GIF is so extremely ridiculous. Lots of people that have had actual sightings, I've never seen this, but lots of people that have had actual sightings have reported 3 rolls, 3 wrinkles at the top of the bridge.
I remember seeing when I looked at his eyes, he had like 3 or 4 wrinkles right at the top at the bridge of his nose, and where the top of his nose and his forehead come together. There was like 3 or 4 distinct skin rolls, and that right there at his brow line.
Okay, so there it is. This guy allegedly shot a Sasquatch on Thanksgiving, I think like 2011 maybe, not sure. This Sasquatch, literally nothing at all is wrong with this, nothing. But people still say it looks fake. I think that's so hilarious. People have reported hair on the nose. Lots and lots of eyewitnesses will tell you there's actual short hair on the nose. Todd Stanning got that right. He got the wrinkles. He got the wrinkles right. He got the distance between the eyes right. He got the fact that there's no whites right. He got the sunken eyes, the depth being sunken back in the face. What's happened with Todd Stanning? 2 things have happened. Discreditation, premature conclusions. So he's been discredited and people have drawn conclusions. People have been extremely fast and nonsensical in drawing conclusions about this man, okay, and about his claims on pretty much nothing. There's no direct evidence at all that anyone has presented.
Hey, thanks for watching. All right, y'all. Sorry for those 2 commercials that came on there. I told y'all I was gonna step away, but now you got the education. Okay, we got 3 minutes left. All right. All right. Okay, we got 3 minutes left. Precise. 3 minutes and 8 seconds. I want to say thank you for watching. You've been watching the Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. And it's a very long video, but I have a lot of thinking points on here. So you be the judge. This has been retracted from Todd Stanning's Slyvanic Bigfoot podcast. 4 years ago, And I don't know who the other guy is because I stepped away. But he give y'all extra version of the morph head. And he was very precise. Yep. Very, very precise. Okay, I'm gonna let it finish 3 minutes. And thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And you have been watching the Urban Sasquatch Research Organization. Thanks for watching. This is my second video. The channel is new. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe. For the YouTube algorithm, get on out there. And this has been Mr. CS. I'm not gonna say my name right now. I don't feel too comfortable. I just give my initial. That's it. All right. Let it rip.
Hinted of this being a hoax at all, guys. They will always refer to Todd's character or something that they believe that he did that's dishonest. They just think that he looks like a hoaxer. He acts like a hoaxer. They'll talk about
how big the head is, y'all, before I go. See that right there? Freaking enormous. Look at Todd standing head. This oblong. Have to go up like that. No comparison. The Bigfoot head. It take up the whole screen. Look at old dermal ridges right here. Nothing. Look at the nose. Look at the span. Look at his face. It's freaking huge. His freaking eyes. It's freaking huge, man. Todd standing eyes, nothing. Look at the mouth. Look at the mouth. His mouth go across his face. It's freaking huge. All right.
things that he said about the camera, blah, 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 but they won't actually deal with this picture itself, with the footage itself. You have to look at the details. You have to analyze. You have to observe the actual things that are happening. You have to make a prediction, which is what we did in this video. But the critics, they're not doing that. They're just saying dumb stuff like, it looks fake, and anyone that believes this is an idiot and a loser and a sheep. So people that use intimidation tactics like...
I don't know who that guy is, so you're right, though. But I must say, we got 3 minutes. We got 2 minutes. Okay, on these 2 minutes, I gotta say, the boss, the master of the wilderness of the North America and the Canadian wilderness, the boss, the master of the wilderness, Big Jakes and Jakes alike. These are the masters of our wilderness, the elusive, the mysterious, the transparent, invisible thing we all know, aka Bigfoot, for the First Nation, Sasquatch, the scientific Sasquatch. They just don't want to give it up. If it look like a duck, quack like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a duck. Let it rip.
that, and then scream at you for not thinking critically. Avoid those people. They're the ones that aren't thinking critically. And who cares how many people have called Todd Standing a hoaxer? I don't care how many people have said that, and I don't care for how long they've said it. I don't care. What I care about is reality. And reality is that I have seen 2 Sasquatch up close that look, the second sighting I had looked almost exactly like this. And the 4th sighting I had looked very much like this as far as the shape of the head and the profile. All right.
He giving it up, y'all. He came to Tad's dog in defense. Todd standing in defense. He had eye-to-eye, face-to-face view of the boss of the wilderness of North America and the Canadian and the British Columbia territory. He gave it up. All right.
Thanks for watching.
For the past 10 years, I've been conducting expeditions, documenting chronicles, and interviewing people pertaining to the subject of Sasquatch. With over 20 years worth of hardcore backcountry expedition experience into the most remote regions, I've tracked and studied various North American species that have had little to no exposure to civilization. In 2006, my team and I publicly showed 2 separate crystal clear Bigfoot videos I personally filmed, which we used to petition the Canadian government for species protection of Bigfoot. The petition was certified and tabled in the Canadian House of Commons. The media response was enormous, with hundreds of newspaper, television networks, radio stations, and websites that receptively presented our work across the globe. It was our goal to reach out to the masses about why our group was beginning the struggle for species recognition and protection.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Very interesting. 147. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. And I'm out. Thanks for watching. This has been retracted from Slyvanic Bigfoot. Todd Standing. Let's open the veil. Let's open the veil. No more.